Welcome. Ziggy1X here with another NieR reincarnation video. I've got someone mowing the lawn next door to me, so there may be a little bit of background noise. I haven't had a chance to make this video because I had a really long work week last week. I had a few 15-hour days in there, so I'm still a little punchy from that. But I want to get this video out before the current Griff banner is over and we move into the next two banners, and that's going to be for Gayle and Noelle. And I want to give a preview for all of these units just so that we can all make our best informed decisions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through what we have, the information on all of these costumes, on the weapons that come with them. We're going to break them down a little bit. And let's just go ahead and jump right into that. As an aside, love seeing the event. I love seeing this obscure NieR lore come out from the stage play in our game, which is great because that's something that was really hard to get a hold of before this, and it's a cool little piece, just one more piece of the puzzle. It's great, I love it. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this, and I'm going to go through and break these guys down, and then I'm going to kind of give my own thoughts as to where I'm at on this banner, and maybe talk a little bit more about what we should be expecting to come, because I think that will have a little bit of an impact on how we choose to go about doing this banner. So let's just start with our boy Griff. Okay, so these are all mechanical costumes. By the way, my doggy is under my desk again, so he's been making a little bit of noise. He may wake up and make some movement. Sorry in advance. Okay, let's take a look at our guy. First thing we see here is that he has got a lot of HP. He's up to 144,000 HP, fully awakened and everything. And he is good on his stats. He actually has passable attack too. So his kit, he's obviously a supporting character, but his kit is actually pretty well developed. Now, if we look at his skill right here, it's called Established Battle Line, and it recovers 40% HP for all allies, which is a little bit lower than what we've been getting from some of our premium healers. It's been 10% for 5 rounds, so that's 50% HP, and it's a heal over time instead of a burst heal all at once, and they have been available at the beginning of battle. This one is not. It's a gauge fill B, which means it's a little bit faster than the A, but it's still not quite a C, so it's still going to take a little bit of time to come in. So 40% HP for all allies, increases all allies' defense by 30%, and all allies enter a dauntless state for 15 seconds. Now, dauntless is a really cool ability. 15 seconds isn't very long, but if you time it right and you know a really big attack is coming your way, this can actually save you. It heals, it enters the dauntless state, it increases defense. I wish there was this part of me that wishes that the dauntless would happen first, and then something could happen with a heal afterwards, but we'll get into that with his weapon. His weapon's actually very good. But so it's this is great. I mean, it's a powerful ability. Dauntless, Team Dauntless is really great. It makes you invincible for that 15-second period. And so that is powerful. Again, I'm going to be gravitating more towards those healers that we've been getting with the heal over time effects, like our Yuletide Gayle, our celebratory F66X, so on and so forth, Mechina, and all these others. So this is good, but it's not something that's going to make me pull the trigger on him. The trigger? Haha. Anyways, okay, so let's look at his passes real quickly. All allies HP up by 30%, great team ability. Void Swiftness, all allies with the same affinity, which is dark, gain an extra 5% cooldown on their weapon skills. That's also great. That just allows you to get more skills off in the battle. And then the ability 3, which is what you're going to get for the Awakening 3, Void Gird, increases the HP of equipped dark affinity weapons by 30% for the whole party. Easy to pass on that. So that's great. You can get one copy of this guy, get his weapon, get the full benefits from his kit basically, and he's good. He's not great, he's good. So let's look at his weapon real quickly. So recover 20% HP on a 28-second cooldown, that is really good. 20% HP has typically been the providence of the EX F66X staff, which is a 20% HP recover. And all the other weapons were 10 to 15%. So this is a power creep here for a gotcha weapon, which is great. 28-second cooldown is a little bit of time, so be warned of that. Now we also have a Ripper, reduces attack by 30%. Okay. And then it's got toughness, 15% HP on the ability 1, and then skill cooldown by 10%. So because of the heal alone, the heal and the Ripper, because you can get other things in your spread apart around your party where you get the Ripper, you get the boosted defense and other things. And when you do all this stuff, you're actually significantly increasing the survivability of your team. This is great. So the weapon, I think, is more interesting to me than the costume. The costume is good. And if you don't have a really good healer, he may be worth pursuing. But we also have the survey banner up right now, and Yuletide Gayle's on that, and in my opinion, she's a better healer, so he's a pass for me. He's an easy pass for me. Now, his debris is a different story. That debris is really, really good. 15% skill cooldown is no joke. That is really powerful. So all the debris you'll notice here on every single one of these costumes is very powerful. And I think that's a part of the kicker. Every one of these debris is a significant power creep over what came before it. Let's go ahead and move past Griff. He's a pass for me. Unfortunately, I haven't even really tried on his banner. But to the people who did pull and got a full refund of all their gems, good for you guys. I'm glad you were able to get that. Let's look at Gayle here real quickly. She's a little interesting. First of all, she's got good stats on attack. 9,200 at the top end, and she's got an interesting character skill. This is a support character skill. Okay, let's read it out here real quickly. 140% damage times 5, so lower multiplier. You're not going to be getting anywhere near what you're getting out of your main DPS units. Reduces enemy defense by 25% for 60 seconds, which is really awesome. And increases all allies' dark damage by 20% for 60 seconds. That right there, that character skill is enough for me to want to pull one copy of her because she is a great dark support. She is a awesome dark support for that. She's going to be great in subjugation and other places as well, just where you're trying to eke out that extra damage. But she also has good stats to go with it. Her character skill damage show, not really much. So let's look at her abilities here real quickly, her passives. Fleetfoot. Agility, and here comes the mower, it's going to get loud for a second. Agility up by 40%. That's not timed agility, that's just flat agility. That is a lot of agility. And since we've got so many sources of timed agility now in the game, I feel myself gravitating a little bit more back to just standard agility because it's easy to get 100% or close to 100% timed agility now. But now if we can increase that base agility, that makes an even bigger difference now with all the time agility factored in. This is something I believe, and I don't have her, but this is something I believe that Shadowbound Priette does as well, and she's very good with the agility sniping thing. And I still run into her, and she's still one of the more difficult, one of the more challenging characters I go against in the arena. With a well-built Priette team with a good support to support her and keep her alive, she's dangerous. So this being the case, and also Gayle's character skill being a C gauge, it's going to be a fast recharge. This may be a good arena pickup in addition to the subjugation. Now, pursuit. This is something else we've been seeing with some of our arena supports. Damage up by 40% on chains of 3 or more. This isn't just Void Pursuit, by the way. This is Pursuit, okay? Void Pursuit means it would have been tied to a Dark Affinity weapon. So no matter what weapon she is using, she is getting that Pursuit bonus, that 40% multiplier on her damage. This is a really good character, okay? And then the ability 3 is Void Drive, increases the attack of Dark Affinity weapons by 80%. That's really powerful, actually. But is it worth chasing that extra 3 copies of her to get that? I don't think so. And this is just for her. It isn't for your team. If it was for your team, I'd say this could be worth getting to Awakening 3, but it's just for her. So this is something like what you would see with a Abyssal Mirror character, that kind of a big chonky bonus. So this is a very powerful character in that sense. Now, the debris is character skill needed reduced by 20% when equipped with a Dark Affinity main weapon. Also very good. I mean, where is most of our damage in the game coming from? It's coming from our character skills. Where are the biggest, chonkiest abilities coming from? Coming from our character skills. The heals, the defense buffs, everything. Most of that stuff is coming from our character skills. So it's only Dark Affinity, unfortunately, but it is a very good specialized Dark Debris for getting more out of those character skills. So the whole package for Gayle, she's an easy win for me. She's an easy pickup. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the, let's see here, the weapon. Now this is strictly an arena weapon, but it's built a little bit differently than some of the arena weapons we've seen up to this point, and I'll show you how that is. First of all, it's giving you a timed agility by 30% for 10 seconds on the skill 2. It's got good damage multipliers. Now, if you're running timed agility, you're typically going to be maxing out as much timed agility at the beginning of the battle, just so that you can eke out ahead of the other team. But getting a little extra in the passive 2, honestly, not really great for me. But let's look at the abilities here. Void Boon, that's pretty standard, but also it increases the chance that normal chains will be 3 or more by 5%. So this is something we also saw with Phantasmal Lars' weapon as well. Very similar, it's basically a dark analog to his wind weapon. It's a good weapon. It's a good weapon. So let's go ahead and look at, this isn't the most interesting character, but she is, you know who she reminds me of? This is going to be our mechanical weapon. This is going to be Noelle, or A2 Noelle. She reminds me of Festive Fio. And Festive Fio snuck up on all of us. She was a sleeper hit, and she ended up being the best costume of the entire Festive banner. She was the most flexible. She does great damage. She's just a good package. This Noelle costume reminds me of that, and let's break down how it is. First of all, top tier attack, great HP, good defense. Awesome package. Her character skill is pretty much what we've come to expect. 340% base damage times 5, and then if you're using a light weapon, the damage is increased by 70%. Okay, so it's a lot of damage. It's just over 600%, or it's right about 600% per hit. And so it's a lot of damage. Now it also reduces defense by 15% for 30 seconds. That's fine. And it has this is where it starts to get a little different. This is the first part of her kit that stands out. 25% gauge increase at the battle start. So that means that she's going to be able to fire off this character skill earlier than everybody else with a B or C gauge. And that's good. It's only at the start of battle though, so don't get that confused. Now here's where things really get different for me. Vigor, okay, this is the same as Fio by the way, attack up by 30%. The next ability, which is actually better than Fio's ability, is Ambush, and that's crit rate up by 25%. That is a chunky crit rate up, which means you're going to be building this girl for crit damage. What else does she get? Critical hit damage up by 30% in her ability 3. So this is interesting for me because we're not seeing these big damage multipliers like Elemental Pursuit, where the damage is increased by 40 or 50% multiplier, but those are typically tied to an element. Gayle's is one of the exceptions. It's not tied to an element, but most of our elemental specialists that have a Pursuit or something like that in their kit, it's tied to their preferred element. The exception to that is when we have a Bold Vigor or a Caged Vigor, which is going to increase the damage by a set amount depending on where your HP is at. So this girl's going to be flexible. And also, if we look down at her spear, she's not going to be element locked in the same way as a lot of the other elemental specialists we've had, because all of her passives are basically supporting a generic damage type, whereas it's her character skill that is basically giving us that element-specific damage multiplier. Now, if we look at her weapon here real quickly, skill 1, max damage, 100% times 5, 50% increase to light damage when you're using your proficient weapon type, so it has to be a spear user. And that is a lot of damage. Now, here's the part that comes before it. It's an 18-second cooldown versus the skill 1 23-second cooldown, but it's fatality. So deal 45% damage times 4 and increases damage dealt on critical hits by 15%. This is the same ability that Fio has in her character skill. And it's one of the things that makes her character skill and her following abilities so powerful, is that she's doing a flat multiplier on all of her critical hits. So if you start taking all these individual pieces and you make them into a whole, you build this girl to the moon for crit damage, crit rate and crit damage. You want her critting on everything. So 100% crit rate, max crit damage, and you can do that with the way her kit is set up. But in addition to that, her weapon is also adding a damage multiplier And you have support characters like Summer Gayle, for example, who can also increase crit damage in their character skill. And that's just a flat multiplier on crit damage. So this girl to me is really interesting, and she is going to be, I suspect, a maybe the sleeper hit in the bunch. I think a lot of people are interested in her because it's Noelle. Unfortunately, we do really need to get her to her Awakening 3 to see her really shine. And so for me, I would have to choose between Gayle and Noelle because I don't have the resources to chase both. And so I'll have to sit on that, and I think it's going to be account specific. Gayle is going to be Arena and Subjugation. For me, my Dark team in Subjugation is the one that I struggle with the most. So having another dedicated Dark damage steroid in my team, in her, could be big benefit. So I'm going to have to sleep on this one, but I think that of all the costumes, Noelle is kind of low-key a big deal, even though it may not seem like it as at this time just reading her on paper. But Fio wasn't terribly impressive on paper either. It was when you got her into the game and started using her, and right now Fio is in every single Subjugation team, every element. The guys who are doing the most damage and doing the biggest waves in Subjugation have Fio in almost every single one of their teams. And that's because she's powerful. It's because she's so versatile. Noelle does the same thing to a degree. So we may be seeing a new type of damage dealer, which is sort of elemental specific, but also has a way of kind of broadening out to other elements and just being more broadly useful. That's just a thought, that's speculation. Now, as far as the banner structure goes, we've got the first 3 weeks, which is going to be the individual costumes. First, we've got Griff, then we've got Gayle, and then we've got Noelle, and that's going to be weeks 1, 2, and 3. It's going to be a similar structure where all of them share the same pity for the first 3 weeks of banners. So if you pull on Griff this week and you don't get him and you kind of want to hold off, well, all of those pity medals you did are going to roll over into the next banner. And that's going to be for the first 3 weeks. Now, there is one side caveat that I don't like that they changed from the festive banners. And in the festive banners, the paid and free medals for the pulls were shared. And so if you went in and you did 10 pulls on a paid and then you did the rest of them on a free, those medals were combined into a single pity. That's not the case for this, which is unfortunate. I really liked that system, and I'm bummed that they changed it. Maybe it's because it's not festive, but I actually really appreciated that. And developers, if any of you are watching, please go back to that old setting you had for the festive. It was really good. So the next thing is that presumably we are going to be getting a combined banner in week 4, but presumably it's going to be on its own pity medal system. So if you didn't get what you wanted in the first 3 weeks, make sure that you're using those pity medals in the first 3 weeks to get what you want, because they will expire at some point. I was speaking with someone online who lost all their pity medals because they didn't use them fast enough. They didn't use them before they expired. And that's tragic. That just feels bad. So please, before too much time goes on, pick the unit you want, pity them. If you have enough pity medals to do so, go for it, move on. The week 4 banner is going to be combined, all of them. And I believe it's going to have its own pity system. Now, one of the pieces of bad information going around online, and I think it was a typo on the official page, presumably it was only going to be a paid banner for the combined. That's not the case. It's going to be paid and free. There's going to be 2 separate banners, so don't worry about that. It's not paid only banners on the week 4 banner. So if you do wish to let this all pass and see what the first 3 weeks bring and then dive into it in the week 4 final combined banner, go for it. Again, just make sure you're spending your pities if you're going that route. So as far as everything else goes, we've got the new event that I talked about. It's good. I enjoyed it. We've got a new companion with it. We've got a new weapon. It's very interesting. And but it's a handout weapon, so it's fine. Our companion has a ripper attached to it, which is great. And it's a 40%, which is awesome. So I'm not going to waste any more time on this right now. Should you pull? Final verdict. If you are Obviously, if you like a character, go for them. But nothing on this banner is critical. Nothing on this banner is critical. So if you're waiting for the next summer Yuri, then you can easily pass on this banner. If you want another flexible damage dealer, go for Noelle. If you want a dark support or arena sniper kind of specialist, go for Gayle. Griff, he's just a hard pass for me. So I'm going to leave it there, and I hope that everyone is having a wonderful day. I hope your luck is great for your pulls. Your lucks, words. Good job, English. Anyways, and if any of you guys are playing Ever Crisis, I hope you're having a good time with that. I have been dipping into it. Again, busy week, so I haven't had a ton of chance to play much of anything, but I'm really enjoying it, and I can see the influence from NieR Reincarnation moving over into Ever Crisis. It is a very polished package, and I can see some of the little things that they learned from NieR Reincarnation and applying some small changes to Ever Crisis. It's a good game. It's a solid game. So if you haven't checked it out yet, I would. I think that just purely for the mechanics of it, the battle, the aesthetics and everything, it's worth checking out. And I will leave it there. So anyways, hope you all have a great day. Peace out. Bye.